Hey guys, welcome back to the MCU HQ, and this is my ranking of the new franchises of Phase 3. Those franchises are Doctor Strange, Spiderman Homecoming, Black Panther, and Captain Marvel, so I am ranking those today. But there are two more coming every Thursday for the next 3 weeks, so obviously today we're doing new franchises. Next week we are ranking the MCU trilogies, which are Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. And then the week after, we are ranking the 4 Avengers films, so definitely subscribe and click on the bell to get notified when all 3 of those drop. Also, I'll give this here since I'm looking at my schedule. Every Monday, for the next 2 weeks, because I already did the first part, we're doing Why the MCU Works. So a couple days ago I did part 1, which was on time. Next Monday is characters, and then the following Monday is fan service versus subverting expectations, which I just finished writing, so I just have to do the voiceover and editing for both of those. So stay tuned for those. Those are coming up. Anyway, put this here. This is a mess. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into ranking these 4 franchises. Okay, so there are a few different factors that are going to play into ranking these films. We're going to be looking at characters, the quality of the movie overall, the way certain things were executed, the impact it has on the overall MCU, and finally, if it feels like it's its own thing or if it's trying too hard to fit in and be essentially an Avengers ad. So those are the 5 factors that we're going to be looking at going into this video. So now, let's get into the ranking. At number 4, the weakest of all these new franchises is Captain Marvel. Starting off, let's just start out talking about characters, and I'm going to move this so it's actually easier for me to see. So yeah, let's talk about characters first. I don't find Carol Danvers all that compelling. I feel like she's self-absorbed, and I mean, that's how she is in the comics, but I don't want her leading the MCU from now on. I don't. She was easily my least favorite character in Captain Marvel. Talos was the best, followed by Goose the Cat, then Nick Fury, and then Maria Rambeau, and then Jan Rog, and then Carol Danvers. And then the Skrulls being good guys, I don't think I like how that was executed. I do like the whole like Jan Rog twist thing though, but I wish the Skrulls had stayed evil because now Secret Invasion seems like it should be much harder to pull off now that the Skrulls are good and the Kree are not. I mean, Kree were never good, but the Skrulls being good people, I don't like. Ruins one of the greatest villain armies in all of comics, in my opinion. And then, the way they executed Fury's eye, him losing it, I don't think they could have done it any worse. It getting scratched out by a cat, I mean, really? When in Winter Soldier he says, "Last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye," and then they revealed we're going to have Two-Eyed Fury in a movie with Skrulls, I thought, along with a lot of other people, that a Skrull was going to take the shape of someone he trusted and then cut his eye out. That's what I thought was going to happen. It would have been so much cooler instead of a cat scratching it. They did it just for comedic value and not for seriousness. And then lastly, and arguably the most important, this movie does not feel like it's really trying to stand alone. It feels like it's pushing really hard to fit in with the rest of the MCU, and it essentially is an Avengers ad, where something like Black Panther felt like it was put out because it was the perfect time. We had gotten Civil War, and so we had Black Panther established, and Infinity War was coming out, and it was like the perfect time to interject Black Panther in here. But Captain Marvel, they released it a month before Endgame. It didn't feel like it was trying to be its own thing. There was really no build-up to it. They essentially released it at that point just because she was in Endgame, and they're like, here's Carol Danvers. Whereas they probably could have released it before Infinity War so that we had known about her story going in. It would have felt like it flowed more smoothly, but I felt like it was just forced out just because Endgame was coming out 1 month later. Anyway, that's it for Captain Marvel. Now let's get on to number 3. Now for number 3 and 2, it's hard to determine which one goes where, and I actually wrote them in the reverse order, because just in between this clip and the last clip, I had this giant thinking stage where I switched them around. So number 3, we're going Spider-Man Homecoming. Originally, it was not number 3 was not Homecoming, but I had to, just for the sole reason that Homecoming does not feel like a standalone Spider-Man movie. It feels like Sony was like, yo, we're working with Marvel now, which means Spider-Man's in the MCU. We had Spider-Man in Civil War. He was all set up for Homecoming. And even though there was barely any Iron Man, you could still feel the grand presence of the MCU. The villain's motivation came from something Iron Man did. Peter's suit came from Iron Man. The villains are dressed, or those burglars at the start are dressed up as the Avengers. There's an Iron Man helmet, there's an Ultron head, there's a ton of arc reactors. And putting Happy in the movie works well. Having Tony cameo works well, but I think that they went maybe a bit too far with the Iron Man presence. And originally, actually, in the script at the Staten Island Ferry, Vision, Rhodey, and Tony all showed up. They just ended up going with only Iron Man because it would take the attention away from Spider-Man, which is good. It's a step, but I don't think they got all the way there. And rewatching it, I still enjoy it. I think I enjoy watching it more than number 2, but just because of the way it doesn't feel standalone at all, I have to push this back to number 3. But aside from that, Tom Holland as Peter Parker is great, and Vulture is one of the MCU's best villains. And I love Ned and MJ. Ned is one of the best side characters, and he made the biggest sacrifice in the MCU by saying that he was watching porn to get out of getting in trouble. That was pretty good. I wrote small scale here, which it is small scale in a sense because it's not this whole Avengers rodeo thing, but it's still got a lot of Avengers stuff thrown in. And then it has a great hero moment, which is Spidey lifting up the building to get out of it. And that still gives me chills. I still love it. But now let's go back to the whole Avengers thing. This doesn't really feel like an Avengers ad. It just feels like an Avengers, not movie, but again, something where they're just, Sony's like pumped because it ties into the Avengers, so they're throwing any references they can to the Avengers. Which now I have to talk about Far From Home, because I didn't want to rant about this, but I have to, is they didn't really learn their lesson, because Peter's stepping up to fill the role of Iron Man. Not literally. It's a metaphor. I hate when people think it's literal, because it's not. Mysterio coming from a different dimension because the snap tore a hole, which I'm fine with that because it's dealing with ramifications of the snap. But then Peter saying they call in Thor, Captain Marvel, just it feels like they're not letting Spider-Man stand on his own and they really just want to inject all these heroes in. Anyway, that's enough talking about Spider-Man. Let's get on to my number 2, which is Doctor Strange. This movie is so good. It does follow the Iron Man template, but I don't really care. It has amazing visuals, and Stephen Strange has a great character arc, I feel. The Ancient One's awesome. Wong is still probably my favorite side character, unless you count Korg. He's my second favorite then. Korg's the best. Wong is the second best. What else did I write? Oh yeah, and of every MCU Phase 4 movie, I cannot believe I just brain farted on that. Of every Phase 4 movie, I'm most excited for Guardians 3, and then a close second is Doctor Strange 2. Nothing else can come up to what my hype for those two. I am beyond excited for Doctor Strange 2. I'm so pumped to see how they explore ramifications of Endgame. That's the thing, with Phase 4, everything's kind of gonna be broad, directly tie into Endgame, because a lot of films are going to deal with the ramifications of that. So I want to see how they deal with the ramifications of that. What's the deal with the Eye of Agamotto, because that's just gone now, I guess. And I cannot wait to see more of Stephen Strange. And the reason this has to take number 2 over Spider-Man, because originally Spider-Man was 2, Doctor Strange was 3rd, but I flipped them, and the reason this has to take priority over Spider-Man is because when you watch Doctor Strange, it does not feel like it doesn't have any direct tie-ins. They don't, well they do. They mention the Avengers once when Wong is giving exposition. He's like, the Avengers protect the world from like physical dangers, we protect the spiritual. But that's it. Other than that, we do get a name drop of the Eye of Agamotto housing an Infinity Stone, but like we don't see like footage of the Avengers like we did in Spider-Man. We don't see the wreckage of any Avengers fights. We don't see them name dropping Battle of New York or Sokovia. It just feels like it's a standalone movie, and they just did those references to tie it in to the universe, which I really enjoy from solo films. They don't need to try hard to be an Avengers tie-in. And then, number 1 is Black Panther. This might be a controversial one, but I really enjoy Black Panther. It is a great movie. Does it deserve Best Picture? No, but it's a great movie. Killmonger is the best character in the movie. It has great female characters being Quay, Nakia, and Shuri. Shuri is one of the greats, in my opinion. And T'Challa is the worst character, which I think is actually good, because they explored something different, is we've never really seen the hero portrayed as the villain. Killmonger was basically the hero, because by the end of the movie, he made T'Challa change his ideology. And, Killmonger's so good. He's coming back for the sequel, not sure how, but he is. The music is really good, and I'm excited for the sequel. Not nearly as excited as I am for Doctor Strange's sequel, but I am excited for the sequel. And just like Doctor Strange, this movie doesn't feel like it's trying too hard to push the Avengers. I think there is only one name drop of any other superhero, and that is in the beginning, when they're looking at the news thing of T'Chaka being dead, and they were talking about the UN, and I think they might have mentioned like Captain America or Bucky Barnes, or that was it. But once you get away from that scene, the rest of it does not feel like an MCU movie. If Black Panther was not in Civil War, I guarantee there would be people like, wait a minute, is this an MCU movie or not? And I think that's very much a good thing, because that isn't until you get to the post-credit scene that they tie it into the MCU. And I haven't really mentioned this yet, but I will now. If a post-credit scene has MCU characters or MCU, like, an ad, because the post-credit scenes, they're basically ads for future movies. If they have those, I'm fine with it, because those are supposed to be teasers for what's to come. But the main movie having it, I'm not a fan of those. So Black Panther's the first post-credit scene tells us Wakanda's public now, and then the second one has Bucky Barnes in it. That's it. That's basically all the Avengers referencing that we get in the movie. But aside from all that, this movie, it's so good. It's so deep. I don't want to use the word political, like messaging, even though it has it, but I feel like it makes you think more than any MCU movie does, which is a nice change of pace from the fun that we're looking forward to. The only downside of that is it was followed immediately by Infinity War, which was another depression fest, so we didn't get a fun movie until Ant-Man and the Wasp. But anyway, guys, that is my ranking for the new franchises of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Do you agree with my ranking? How would you rank them? Let me know down in the comments below. Also, leave a like on this video, subscribe, and click on the bell icon to receive all notifications about those 2 new series I have, and any other videos in general. I have a vlog video coming out soon. Been a while since I did one of those. Anyway, that's going to be it. Have a great day, guys.